We have taken up a most interesting topic, becoming an integral education school. On the one hand, it's been a dream for a really long time, but somewhere Mother said beautifully that it's a dream of the divine. Not like how you and I dream, which may or may not happen. But here is something which she said, somebody said, will it happen? The dream that we are dreaming all the time, will it happen? She said, don't worry, it's not your dream, my dream, it is a dream of the divine. So in a certain sense, we are beginning our exploration, and it has already started in a certain sense. You have already gone through several steps towards it. But before we jump into it and deal with the topic becoming an integral education school, I want to ask you, what do you mean or what do you understand by integral education? Because then only we can talk about how to become an integral education schools. And if you do not have a clarity on integral education itself, then our attempts also will not carry the same clarity. So what we will do first is, as an activity, as an exercise, I'm going to ask you to write down what you understand by integral education. Not more than a paragraph. There is no essay that needs to be written. As brief as possible, even if you would like to go with bullet points, please go ahead. So you have...
Last time we asked you, then you only answered, it's not like it's integral lifestyle.
Well, let us see how many remember it, because the moment we substitute this with one more phrase, I'm going to ask you what that phrase means. So if you say that integral education is leading an integral lifestyle, I'm going to ask you, what do you mean by integral lifestyle? Somewhere we have to look a little deeper into. The more clarity that we have, the easier it is to start. So what do you understand by integral education? You can write it down. Is it done? How many would like to have a little more time? Just to raise your other hand, the hand that's not writing. Everyone has written? Done? We'll go for a quick round of sharing, and then we will see. And then we will see what comes out of it. So, we'll start with you.
Okay.
Yes.
So, I've never attended any one of your... but Asha ma'am gave the lead that it is leading an integral lifestyle. But when we're talking of integral education, it is when all parts and planes of my being, each one of the parts and planes of my being, are through education becoming aware. They are being connected to each other. And all this connectivity is connected to my true inner being. And the center is the inner being from where all these parts and planes of being are actually functioning. So the center of consciousness is seated inside, and from there all these are being driven, like the chariot.
So we'll put it as integral education is an education that facilitates this.
That facilitates this.
Whatever you have said. Okay.
When you become aware of yourself, you make conscious efforts to overcome your weaknesses. Then eventually you become more spiritually awakened and morally strong person. And then when you interact with others, you can influence their life.
Okay. So spiritually awakened and morally conscious. Just two phrases. I'm just going to pick up a few phrases and that's it.
We have to progress spiritual and emotional.
Spiritual and emotional progress.
It's like fivefold education where we are taking the physical being, mental, vital, spiritual and the psychic being.
Fivefold education.
It can be the harmony of mind, body and soul.
Have you written it?
Yes.
So I'm not taking it as yours. It's an add-on. So, yes.
So something like from near to far, first we have to have it within ourselves.
Okay. So near to far.
What I have written is integral education, which focuses more on being and doing, which is an outcome of that higher state of being.
Okay.
Rather than kind of always looking at doing, focusing more inwards and on being. And so all parts of the being are transformed and utilized to their maximum potential.
Okay.
centered in the deepest self,
Okay.
and education that equips us to go forever in life as a student. So it doesn't stop just with your school or college, but kind of equips you to go on.
Okay. Being to becoming.
Very similar, that it's a conscious transformation.
Hmm.
It is the physical development, the vital development, the mental, the spiritual, and the psychical development.
Okay.
And it is, of course, the wisdom, the strength, the harmony of everything together,
Okay.
and moving towards perfection,
Okay.
and to attain knowledge,
Okay.
not academics,
Okay.
and of course, the development of the senses.
Moving towards perfection. A few other things have already been covered, so I'm taking up one phrase which is not yet covered. Yes.
It's again not related to academics only. It's
Hmm.
a journey to know himself and thereby offer actions to divine. Instead of I, it becomes we. So
Okay.
we educate them. Second is nowadays students need to know the concept of let go, to learn their shortcoming and trying to imbibe effects in others, so thereby helping them.
Okay.
Okay. And the third one, which for students to understand the value of being humble by experimenting within, which will make the sincere citizen like humanity. I mean, definitely they are just going to contribute a lot. And as a teacher, I feel sometimes we take pride saying that I am a good teacher or something. I think the student make good or bad. So they actually drive us to become
Okay.
good. So at least they also educate us to come to that level. So it is possible in perfect integral environment.
Okay. So it's knowing oneself.
And it's a link between body, mind, and soul.
Okay.
Involvement of all three are required. That as teachers, we are not required.
Only three has come: body, mind, soul. Everybody is for five. They have two extra things. Which ones are left out? Body, mind, soul.
Emotions and
Emotions and. So body, mind, soul already part of the fivefold education. So it's already been included.
This is my first session, so I might
Okay.
sound wrong.
This is okay. So we won't have any one right answer, and then we are freely exploring.
What I have written, I want to share it with them.
Hmm.
To me, this integral education means to educate towards the path of evolution through consciousness.
Okay, evolution through consciousness.
Teaching
That
the
is
same
it.
subjects. I may give an example.
Okay.
Like teaching the same subjects with a new outlook
Hmm.
or objective,
Hmm.
so as to benefit the mankind as a whole.
Okay.
And breed a whole new lot of students having a higher level of emotional quotient in accordance with the intelligence quotient, of course, which they might have.
Okay. So IQ, EQ, and SQ. Spiritual quotient.
Transforming of oneself consciously,
Hmm.
or it is conveyed to the students,
Hmm.
and we become the ideal figure for them,
Hmm.
and they also incorporate those things in their life.
Hmm.
And it is basically an amalgamation and harmony of mind, soul, and body.
Hmm.
Plus, at the same time, upgrading the academics also
Hmm.
for the other aspects that a human being lives.
Okay. Keyword transformation. Yes.
According to me, integral education is aiming for complete education of children, as in not by telling them
Hmm.
how and what they have to do, but assisting them in finding and fulfilling their purpose,
Hmm.
designed for them by the divine.
Designed for
them by the divine.
for them by the divine. Okay.
Follow that.
So there is a higher plan. There is a divine plan, and okay. So execution of divine plan.
According to me, it means understanding that nothing can be taught and it is already there inside every soul, every child, every human being. And it is just that we have to realize it and we have to feel it. One of the examples were discussed in one of the sessions in our school,
Hmm.
that like a statue being carved.
Okay.
That statue already exists inside, we are just carving it out. So having realizing ourselves as teachers and helping our students also realize.
Okay. Lovely. So realizing inner perfection
In the student.
first in the teachers and then in the students. In teachers and students, you can put it like that. Yes.
I could only think of what Mother had already said, that the finest present one can give to a child would be to teach him to know himself and to master himself. Apart from that,
So knowing oneself and mastering oneself. Yes. Which madam? One? Okay. So realizing inner perfection, first for oneself and then for the students.
आप हिंदी में बोलिए ना, पर बोलिए बोलिए प्लीज.
जैसे कि इसका अर्थ होता है अविभाज्य. तो जो कुछ भी है वो हमारे अंदर ही है, बस हमें उसको जानना है और उसको और निखारना है.
Swami Vivekananda put it beautifully. So this is realizing the perfection which is already within. Just a question of bringing it out.
That's what she said.
Teachers should be facilitators where they bring out the talent and the potential of the children. And the children education should be such that it collaborates the inner values that we teach the child, and like empathy, compassion, and also collaborating with the life skills.
Okay.
So that the child becomes more susceptible to such circumstances where he can deal.
Okay.
And of course strengthening the inner being.
Okay. So collaboration with inner values, life skills. Yes.
It's becoming aware of yourself, basically, and being the same inside outside. So it's not that you're living a dual life where you are something in front of somebody and you are actually something else. So that harmony has to be there. That you are the same inside outside, and only then can you influence the people around you. Because you have to become the influence, like man said. You just can't be something else. You can't be a dual personality, and basically that's what.
Okay. So inside to outside influence. Yes.
So every child is different. So education is that the child has to realize who he or she is. So knowing oneself better and be happy accepting your weaknesses, your shortcomings, so that you can overcome them and grow them.
So what we have here is several ways of looking at one simple thing which we call it as integral education. Just imagine a situation that all of you are part of a school, the say Jaipuria school, and somebody from outside, a potential parent who will be putting his or her student into the school, walks in. And she wants to know what the school is trying to do, and somewhere she has heard that it is trying to put into practice integral education. Just to tell me, what will be the scenario if the parent goes for one round asking 5 people what this integral education that you are putting into practice? What are the likely answers which the parent or anybody who is coming from outside is likely to get? Somebody will say it's to awaken oneself spiritually and morally. Now the same person goes to a second teacher, and the second teacher says that, oh no, it's a 5-fold education, no physical, vital, mental and psychic and spiritual. Then already the person is thinking, oh, spiritual awakening is a little different from 5-fold education. Already a little bit of confusion creeps in. Because we are talking about a group of people who are yet to familiarize with the language which you are already aware of. And suppose if the same parent goes to a third one, what is the answer likely to get? Oh, it's going from near to the far. So immediately the question comes, it's not 5-fold being, it's not spiritually awakening, it's going from near to far. There is somewhere we are going, and 5 people, if the person interacts with it, you are likely to get 5 different answers, yes or no? And all of us are talking about the same thing. Now, what will be the end result? So in the person who is coming to understand, immediately it creates a confusion for us. There is something which is so beautiful, which can be looked from every point of view. But when we are representing, when we are part of an educational institute, we cannot be talking in 5 different ways about the same thing. And unless and until we find an alignment in the way in which we express ourselves, if the person wants to explain to you a little more, you can take your own time. But the beginning point, the starting point, if everybody is aligned in the way in which what integral education is about, it is a tremendous advantage and it is a terrific starting point. So if we have to arrive at a consensus in expressing what this integral education is about, it's already a leap forward, at least in terms of getting or representing ourselves to somebody who just steps into our organization. Now the greatest problem is which version can we adopt so that everybody can say the same thing, because all the versions have truth in it. Yes or no? They are all true. None of them has any element which I can straight away say that no, this is not part of integral education. And yet you can sit whenever you have to write, you can get up. And here is the conundrum, the difficulty which we are putting into. Look at a school where already, how many teachers are there? Around 250 teachers thinking about integral education in 250 different ways and remaining in the same. What type of an atmosphere will it create? Unless and until there has been an attempt at aligning it to a single vision, a single way of expressing, after that we can branch out. So if there is a question that whose version is the best, whose version do you think is the better one? Now we cannot put everybody into one simple expression and say that no, this is the best because everybody's expression have been, that will be too much. I already have 12, 13 expressions. I can't simply put everything together and say this is the integral education. But if we can have one version, see, fivefold education. Now suppose if I have one way of expressing it from the person who has initiated this education, integral education, it happened somewhere in the 1940s. First time it was given form in Sri-Aurobindo ashram by the mother. Suppose if she has put it in such a way, in a language which is so simple, in a language which is not a language of a group of people here, because there are some great sadhaks and they will be talking highly spiritual and philosophical way, and we will totally lose out on them. Somebody, if that person has explained it in the language of a common man, not in highly philosophical and spiritual terminology, then it is better to take a look at it. So once the attempt of integral education was started in the 1940s, in a very informal way, it happened in the ashram. There was no book, there was no one standard definition of integral education, and everybody is under the impression that somewhere the mother will tell us what to do, we just have to do. What I should do when mother tells me, that is integral education. That is the definition everybody used to carry. There's no other definition was there. But then when you go a little deeper into it, when you ask the question, there are people who want to put their children, how do we represent ourselves and tell them this is integral education in their own language? And who can say this unless and until the mother herself has made an attempt? And if she has made an attempt, it is worth looking into. So what we will do in this session is taking a look at how the mother herself has put it as what this integral education is. So when the experiment started in the 1940s, it went on for at least 6 to 7 years until 1950 and 51. And until that time, anybody who has doubt, they just have to go and ask the mother, Mother, is this part of integral education? Mother will say, no, this is not, and this is yes. They will come back and they just have to do it. And 1950-51, mother for the first time said, I am going to put it in writing what this integral education is about, so that everybody can converge on. They have something so beautifully expressed, it is just a question of putting it into practice. So she started writing a series of articles explaining what this integral education is about, and the fivefold education has actually come from there, because she wrote a series of 5-6 articles, starting with the first chapter, which she has given the title. She is talking about what? Integral education. So what should be the title? She didn't do that. Interesting, extremely interesting, because the integral education, as everybody knew, it's application of integral yoga in the field of education. How the vision mission statement came about? It's nothing. There is integral yoga, which a lot of people, almost a few hundred people who are practicing. You apply it in the field of education, it becomes integral education. Integral yoga applied in the field of education, integral education. So if this is the case, then mother should have named it as integral education, started the chapter, and then fivefold education, which is physical and vital and mental and the other things. But she gave a very extraordinarily interesting title. She called it, what did she call it? The Science of Living. The moment you say integral yoga and integral education, you have already lost half of the people because they are ready to say, no, I don't want to put my children into an yoga school. I don't want yoga. I want him to pick up so many other things, karate, judo. And here is this is a science. The first thing, and no science will be a true science unless there are people who have conducted the experiment and realized the truth of it. We are not talking about theory. Is integral education a theory? Is it a philosophy? Is it some beautiful, idea which is about to get realized? No. It is a science where the insights have been described, has been discovered and then implemented in a laboratory called Sri Aurobindo Ashram. When somebody asked the Sri Aurobindo, so what is happening there? Is it an ashram, isn't it? So everybody must be sannyasi. He said, no. He said, this is a laboratory. And what type of laboratory? It's a human laboratory where a unique experiment was going on. An experiment where some deep insights are put into practice and they are verified. They are being realized. And out of this came a science. A science for what? There are so many sciences in this world. This particular science concerns about the living each one's life. And then she put it as the science of living. You can kind of erase it and then start with, what is integral education? It is a science of living. And why do we call it a science? It has been verified experimentally. There are a set of deep insights. And if you put it into practice and apply it in the field of education, it becomes, in the field of life, it becomes a science of living. What do we mean by science of living? And what do we hope to achieve through the science of living? Is there one particular lifestyle? You call it as integral lifestyle. I don't yet know. Is it a particular type of lifestyle where certain things are realized? Do we mean that? For example, probably a type of lifestyle where everybody is an integral yogi. I don't know. Is that such a lifestyle that we are looking at? Or what is it that we are aiming at when we say it is a science of living? And then Mother took it one step further. By this, we mean nothing else but perfection of ourselves. What is the science of living? Where does it take us? If we walk the science of living, where will we reach? Not somebody else's perfection. See, beautiful, how beautifully she says, perfection of ourselves. Is it the same for everybody? So we have perfection of some ideal man where everybody will have to realize it? No. She said perfection of ourselves because each one's perfection could be so very different and yet be in sync and in harmony with it. So if we say this is a science of living where we aim nothing short of perfection, and what type of perfection? Not an objective perfection, perfection of ourselves. And if it is a perfection of ourselves, how do you do it? A parent is asking the question. So I know now it's a science of living. You're talking about something nice and wonderful. And this is a set of insights discovered, the principles were discovered, and they were realized. So how do you go about it when you say perfection of oneself? And then Mother said 2 words. After writing the science of living, she just included one line with only 2 phrases. And that 2 phrases gives the whole approach that is part of the integral education. Which one is that? Do you have the book on education? Take it out. All right, it's fine. I'm going to read it out anyway for you. When after writing the science of living, that's okay. I will just say, I will read and then we can all follow. So after writing science of living, in the very first phrase, you see a small phrase here, to know oneself and to control oneself. What is the idea? Can we not achieve this perfection without knowing ourselves and without controlling ourselves? Simple question. Is it really difficult to understand? If we don't know what is to be perfected, and if we enter into the process of controlling, somebody said it's like sculpting, remove the unwanted part, the negative tendencies, add and enhance the positive things this need to come out, draw it out, and what you have is nothing but that particular child's perfection. So what do we mean? To know oneself and to control oneself. And these are the two-step process. In that entire from KG to the last class, all that we are attempting is contained in these two phrases, to know oneself and to control oneself. And if this is the science of living, to know oneself and control oneself, why? So that we can reach, each one can reach their perfection. And this is it. Now, if you want to know more, you can sit and then tell that, okay, it follows fivefold education, that inner perfection, and this and that. You can engage the person according to his available time. You can even make that person sit with you for a couple of days and tell everything from A to Z. But this is how we start. When everybody start with one single united voice, it should be so much ingrained in us that when you sleep, I think tonight Anjali ji is going to wake you up in the middle of the night and going to ask you, what is integral education? What should be the answer? Science of living. And she is going to shake you up and say, what do you mean by the science of living? And why do we do that? So that each one can achieve the perfection, and then we enter into this that are there. But coming back to our thing, what is integral education? Science of living. And what are we trying to achieve through science of living? Everyone's perfection. And how many steps are there? What are they? Simple, isn't it? And when we go a little deeper into it, a little more, the mother starts that entire writing. It is almost 6 to 8 chapters are there. Now, I told you, if we have to talk everything in our own language, normal people will not understand. They will even misunderstand. So, when mother has to talk about, she knows so much. And obviously, what type of language would she have adopted? Can she adopt a common man's language? She from that height, expressing, you've all read Sriaurobindo's language, right? So, it is not for everybody. So, if mother has to talk about integral education, write about it, what type of language would she have adopted? So, after writing these articles, I think 2 or 3 articles were written, and after that somebody went and asked the mother, so mother, what was behind what you have started writing? And then the mother explains what she has attempted through this first 6 chapters. I'm going to read it to you. It's not there in the book on education, but it is there in the bigger book. And then we will understand that the mother has done 80 to 90% of our work. Otherwise, taking up this 15 statement, if there are 250 teachers in your school, aligning them, getting them to consent to one way of expression is next to impossible task. And this is what the mother says about this series of articles. So this is on the very first page of this volume on education, and this is what she says so beautifully. She says, in these articles, I'm trying to put into ordinary terms, not yogic and spiritual and philosophical terms. I'm trying to put into ordinary terms the whole yogic terminology. She's not left out anything. So we are safe. In this attempt, has she left out anything? Don't worry, everything has been included. For these, she wrote this in a magazine called Bulletin. So she said, for these bulletins are meant more for people who lead an ordinary life. So you cannot even say that she has written it for a group of disciples or teachers here who are already, ashramites. No. This is more for whom? People like us. It's more for people who lead an ordinary life. Though also for students of yoga, don't think that you are left out. She is telling the ashramites and the yogis and the practitioners, don't think you are left out. It's also for you. And then she says, when she says ordinary people, what does she mean? I mean people who are primarily interested in a purely physical, material life. When I started this work, people said that, unless somebody is already spiritual, how will they agree to this type of an education? We are talking about psychic being and then opening and then surrender. How is this going to happen? And this is what she says, that this is meant for people who are leading a purely physical, material life. But there's only one simple qualification. Somewhere has to be, a little qualification has to be there. So she puts in nicely. But who try to attain more perfection in their physical life than is usual in ordinary condition. Somebody who wants to be better. I want the best for my child. I want the best for myself. If that much is there, that is more than sufficient. And even if he leads a purely physical, material life, then it is fine. And then she says, is it easy to put an entire integral yoga into common man's terminology for somebody who is leading a physical, material life? Is it an easy walk in the park? Mother herself says that it is a very difficult task. Thank God we don't have to do that, because the most difficult part, she has done it. It is a very difficult task, but it's a kind of yoga. And if it's to be an integral yoga, Mother said, I am going to do it, and then she has done it. Now, these people, the so-called people, call themselves materialists, and they are apt to get agitated or irritated if yogic terms are used. Come, let us surrender to the divine. He said, no, I don't want to surrender anything. You think I want to keep all my paisa, my wealth and everything? You think surrender means I can't give up anything? They are likely to be irritated or agitated. So one must speak their language, avoiding terms likely to shock them. And this is the introduction that she gives, and what she talks about in that one chapter, the science of living. She has compressed everything in a way which we don't have to hesitate to tell people. And if we can take up and enter into it, we will all be voicing what the Mother herself has said. And how does she begin the science of living? It's easy to say each one's perfection. So which means that if in a school there are 250 children or 1,000 children, there are going to be 1,000 perfections we are aiming at. How can you decide anything? Any curriculum, it's an impossible task, because each one's line is different and you can't have 1,000 syllabuses or 1,000 curriculums waiting for it. How do we go about it? Because we don't know what each child wants to be. Somebody may be wanting to become an artist, a musician, a scientist, a lawyer. We don't know. There are innumerable professions which could be what they want to become. Now, this education should be able to address whatever one wants to become in one's life. And therefore she says that if whatever is the aim of life, it can be shallow or high or wide, it can be generous or whatever it is, if you want to achieve it in a very perfect way, she says, you will have to start by perfecting what you have, so that through it you can achieve the perfection of your goal. And this is extremely interesting. When she says the aim of life, whatever is the aim of life, it cannot be realized unless and until we know what we have. I want to become a musician. Do I have a musical sense already? How much of it do I have? If not, I have to become aware of it. I have to control, I have to increase my musical sensibility so that it becomes a perfect expression of my life, my life's goal. Do I want to be a scientist? I get into and then question, as a scientist, what are the faculties which are already there? The thinking capacity, the analyzing capacity, the logical capacity, the pursuit of the truth. If they are not there, but I want to be a scientist, how is it going to happen unless and until I become aware of it and then learn to enhance these qualities, so that once these qualities become perfect, I know I can become a scientist or an artist or a theatre or a dramatist or whatever I want to become. And this is the link she makes in that one chapter, that whatever is the aim of your life, you cannot achieve it perfectly unless you have achieved perfection of what you already have. Now the